Thank you all very, very much. And again, I appreciate you being here today. This is a very special day for Christian Coalition. We're doing this to announce our 9 days of prayer for Alabama. And from now till January, when the anniversary of Roe v. Wade, we're going to be praying daily for our state, for our legislative leaders, for our governor, attorney general, our judges, that justice be prevail in Alabama, and that the issues that are important to the leadership of actual Alabama families and their values be supported as well. We feel like even though through the last few years we've had a more conservative legislature, that we need to make sure that it continue to be attentive on the issues of the day. And one of our concerns is, as we go into this next legislative session, being near an election year, that many of these issues may be overwrought by other types of issues that are trying to be pressed through the waning days of this next legislature. And many of these issues may be put off to the next legislative session. We want to make sure that doesn't happen. And we want to hold our legislators and our leadership accountable. We actually have narrowed down to 5 different aspects among the pillars of Alabama that we're going to focus on. Obviously, one of the areas that we're interested in is in life. We're interested in protecting life from birth, in the womb, all the way till death, to natural death. In that regard, we feel like one of the most important bills that we pass is the Pain Capable bill. This bill actually calls for, and we have legislative support for this in the legislature, where we will be asking them to protect life if the fetus can detect pain and feel pain. And we believe this will hold constitutional muster under the recent court rulings and will protect more lives here for Alabama. We also want to have better enforcement of existing rules that have been passed to limit abortions and protect women in the areas where they're having abortions, such as the abortion clinic bill that passed in this last legislative session. The second area that's very concerning to us is the growth of gambling in Alabama. There was a recent article that addressed this issue, that now we have more gambling than we ever had in the state of Alabama as far as amount of money being wagered. This has been, in fact, the actual increase in wagering is the greatest increase in Alabama than any other state. It was reported recently in the media. We believe this can be curtailed by a number of ways. One is better enforcement of the gambling laws, both at the local level and also by Attorney General. But in addition to that, one simple thing that can happen is to pass a prohibition on alcohol licenses for any type of gambling that goes on the state, whether it be under license because of paper bingo amendments or under other types of legislative action that allows them to gamble, both at the Indian reservations and also in private settings. We believe the mixture of alcohol with gambling is a very dangerous combination and can lead to even more problems of despair for Alabama families. We also are very interested in constitutional reform as far as how we report financing of our elections. Some of our leadership have seen where more and more influence being bought by smaller and smaller numbers of people here in the state of Alabama. And the worst thing that can happen is for our democracy and the people of Alabama be represented by a small number of special interests. One of the other things that came out as we talked to Senator Blackwell recently is the problem with unsolicited donations. And many times these unsolicited donations can be used by someone's opponent to say that they're for something when they're really not supportive of that particular agenda by whatever institutions giving donations to them. So what Senator Blackwell has asked for is a moratorium or a way to limit reporting of contributions, whether it be from a gambling institution or from cigarette manufacturers or whatever type of vice that you may not be supportive of, that not be able to give contributions that are unsolicited and then reported on the reporting forms, so it makes it look like the candidate did accept those types of donations. And we're very supportive of that. And finally, one of the more important things that is going to occupy the legislature, I believe, is the issue of Common Core. We have examined Common Core. Myself as a scientist and a physician, I am very much supportive of education. I do believe we need to increase our standards of education. I do believe we need to improve our academic excellence in the state and academic achievement among our students. But the use of Common Core in our state school system is not the way to achieve that goal. if you look at even the people that were on the panel that initially devised the Common Core standards, particularly for mathematics, and this is a professor from Stanford and MIT, two professors, one from Stanford and MIT, both of them said that this particular legislation is strictly a political document. It has nothing to do with improving education. But instead of being just against Common Core, we're going to be for increasing standards in our public schools. We want to have the academic rigor assigned to a high school degree, such that when that person, that young woman or that young man graduates from high school, then he has a body of information and skill set that is going to be needed for the workforce or to extend his career in college and professional school. That is extremely important. Many of our schools are doing a very good job of that. A lot of our schools are not doing a good job of that. And we need to improve academic rigor in our institutions across the state, both private and public schools. So we are going to be working closely with the legislature. We're going to be closely with other groups that are very concerned about Common Core, that we remove the stigma of Common Core on our educational establishment and our educational bureaucracies in the state, and replace it with standards that can be shown to improve actual academic success and academic rigor and academic knowledge with our students. These are 5 of the areas that we're going to be focusing on. These are consistent with our values of Christian Coalition. They're consistent with the majority of the people in the state of Alabama that we've talked to across the state, and these are things that are concerning the citizens. We are going to hold the legislature accountable. We're going to hold the local legislators that are representing the different districts accountable, and we want to know where they're going to stand, and we're going to obviously educate our voters and our citizens that are part of Christian Coalition to help them understand these different issues. So again, I thank you for your time. We wanted to make people aware of this, and this is a very important initiative we're doing as part of Christian Coalition.